Back at it again. It's the Football Playbook with your boy, Ric Serritella, RIC. The place to be, broadcasting live from the Jersey Shore around the football universe. It's the global show here on the JAKIB Sports YouTube channel. Buckle up, double chin strap affair here for our 80th episode of the Football Playbook, Tuesday, December 27th, 2022. We missed you yesterday. Hopefully the holiday weekend treated everybody marvelous, but it's back at it again. Time to strap them up, buckle up, and talk about your 13-2 Philadelphia Eagles, still the number one seed in the National Football League. We're going to get into it here. It's all brought to you by the good folks down at Ocean Casino Resorts in beautiful Atlantic City. Make sure you check them out. Of course, I want to thank all the people waking up with us here today on this holiday Tuesday. Big shout out to the listeners. Always a pleasure with the chat room. TB, Adams Exploits, Frankie, William, Justin, William Stark, all the people in the chat. We see you getting started. And yeah, it was a tough loss. Tough loss. The Dallas Cowboys here taking care of business, 40-34. Whew. And I will say this, a couple things here. The Eagles have now lost 5 straight at AT&T Stadium. That venue is giving them a lot of problem. They haven't swept the Dallas Cowboys in a single season series since the 70s. You got to go back almost 5 decades, 6 decades until they actually won a season series. So it would have been a good morale boost. Dak Prescott shredded him. I mean, this guy was unbelievably lights out. And Gannon misplayed this. He's not going to adapt and adjust. He's going to make other teams adapt and adjust. That's what the Cowboys did. That should have been more man coverage, the zone coverage. Dak Prescott, 24-24 versus the zone coverage. Wow. At one point, he completed 19 consecutive passes. However, that's not why they lost. You know, we talked about on this show all the time, the only team that's going to beat the Philadelphia Eagles are the Philadelphia Eagles themselves. When you have 4 turnovers, I think I saw every press game conference, kudos, it all starts at the top because Sirianni said it. When you turn the ball over 4 times, you're not going to win football games. That was echoed throughout. No common sense. I don't need a breaking news flash at the bottom of the screen to tell you guys that. But I will say this. Let's take a look at some of those turnovers. You know, one, Miles Sanders, you damn right you fumbled at the wrong time. Wrong time, wrong place. You take full responsibility, he says in the postgame. Okay, well, that's 2 weeks in a row, Miles. I'm starting to wonder now how much of it is in his head after getting chewed out by Sirianni on the sidelines 2 weeks ago. He comes in and fumbles, and quite frankly, that was a disappointing performance against the Dallas Cowboys team. They were allowing 130. Yeah, we'll get to 30-30. They were allowing 133 yards rushing per game. And in comes Miles Sanders, right? And this, again, is the value, the importance of Jalen Hurts when you don't have to account for him. Miles Sanders, 21 carries, 65 yards, 3 yards per carry. Got to be better. Miles Sanders ain't the problem, though. However, Quez Watkins, bro, he's exposing himself as the weakest link on this offense. Quez Watkins, you've got to be more aggressive. And I've seen it throughout the season. It turned up in a bad spot against the Cowboys. You've got to be more aggressive. You've got to attack the football. I mean, it's like a bounce pass in basketball. You got to get after it. You got to be more aggressive, Quez. And so, to me, you're only as strong as your weakest link, and Quez Watkins is that weakest link now. We need better from Miles. We need better from Quez Watkins. Quite frankly, I expected more from Gardner Minshew. And I'll get into that in a second. But the 3rd and 30. The 3rd and 30. Wow. I mean, this is a season-defining moment, right? And sometimes the best moves you make are the moves you don't make. And in some twisted, warped way, fortunately for the Cowboys, Odell Beckham Jr. not being ready might be a blessing in disguise for them. Because this T.Y. Hilton, he's a veteran, savvy guy. I listen to Mike McCarthy, all the coaches and the players praise his smarts and intelligence and how he's been a big help in the preparation leading up to this matchup. But wow, 3rd and 30, what a breakdown. What a season-defining moment for the Dallas Cowboys. And yes, T.Y. Hilton, he tweeted out, is this my welcome to Dallas moment? Absolutely. Absolutely it is. And I'll tell you what, man, I haven't even mentioned the injuries because that, to me, is the biggest long-term impact and ramifications from this Eagles loss, right? Because now I have to reconsider things a little bit here. I got to be honest, guys. When I went into this matchup, I felt like the Philadelphia Eagles were clearly the superior team over the Dallas Cowboys. When healthy, I still believe that. However, things have changed. Things have changed. It was all good just a week ago. Not so much today. I got to say, the current status of the Philadelphia Eagles roster concerns me because the biggest of them all, Jalen Hurts, despite how I hear in press conferences, he just heals different. Jalen, he just absorbs hits different. He heals differently. Maybe he's not human. Whatever the case may be, Jalen Hurts remains uncertain. And maybe even bigger than the loss of Jalen Hurts, Lane Johnson. Pretty big effing deal, guys. Maybe a bigger deal than Jalen. And so Lane Johnson's now out for the remainder of the regular season. They need to seal the deal here because, oh yeah, everybody else except the Eagles took care of business. The Vikings won. The 49ers won. The Cowboys won. Breathing down their neck. And as a matter of fact, you know what good teams do? Come December, they win football games. Buffalo Bills, Kansas City Chiefs, Cincinnati Bengals. You know what they all did yesterday? W's. Now, we'll get into the injuries in the B block because I still got to get a lot off of my chest here. RIC in a place to be. Ric Serritella here on this Tuesday, December 27th, 2022. Ooh, baby. This Dak Prescott owns the Eagles, man. 7-1 in his last 8 games against the Eagles. 17 touchdowns, 4 interceptions in that time span. Dak Prescott has owned the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, let's talk about Gardner Minshew. What is it? Hand grenades? Horseshoes? Close but no cigar, my friend. I was disappointed, quite frankly, with Gardner Minshew. And the stat line looks good on paper. I get it. I mean, if you didn't know any better, if you didn't watch this football game, and you look down and you saw 24-40, 355 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, pair of fumbles, but this was not by any means an impressive performance by Gardner Minshew. And we talked about the most important position on a team is the quarterback. The second most position on the team is the backup quarterback. Eagles have a pretty good one, just not good enough. Not good enough to get it done in January. If you can't get it done in December, then you can't get it done in January. And listen, when you're the backup, it's your job to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. I hear you, Ocams. Hasn't played in a long time. Hold on, let me take a sip of my Morning Joe while we make excuses for Flint. Because that's what it is. Gotti World, welcome to the show. Listen, here's the bottom line. I don't want to hear this, oh, well, he didn't have a lot of work with the first team. Yes, he did. In fact, he went out of his way in the press conference to credit the coaching staff, not just for this week, all season long, for mixing him into getting first team reps throughout the year. He acknowledged that. So I don't think that's accurate. I think that's a poor assessment to say, oh, he's rusty. Well, yeah, he is. But when you're the backup, you got to stay ready so you don't need to get ready. Gardner Minshew, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'll start off with the mechanics. What are we doing? Whoa. Wow. How is the Eagles coaching staff allowing him? Listen, guys, I wasn't doing the football playbook here last year. I didn't watch every Eagles game like I did this year with laser radar. Were his mechanics always so terrible? How do they allow that? I mean, this guy's upper body and lower body are so off sync. You can't throw a pro. You can't be a pro and throw like that. Your mechanics are so wonky. Like this guy, remember Sam Darnold when he's like, yo, I was hearing ghosts. I was seeing ghosts out there. Gardner Minshew was seeing ghosts. Like he was playing his own game of pass rush in the pocket. Like there was no pass rush, but he was throwing it off the back foot and altering his body like as if somebody was coming at him. Like, Gardner, you're all good, buddy. You got a clean pocket. Like, why are you throwing off of your back foot, moving backward? Like his body, like, dude, you got to step into your passes. You got a clean pocket. You got to take advantage of that. His mechanics are so off. That's the first thing I noticed right out of the gates. The upper body and lower body are not working in sync. And this is some of the fundamental basic stuff in quarterback play, guys. Gardner Minshew's mechanics are way off. He does not throw into the passes, which is why some of these balls, listen, I'll tell you what, man, there's a significant drop-off between Jalen Hurts and Gardner Minshew, and it's dangerous. It's dangerous when you get into the playoffs time because here's the deal. There's people out here that criticize Jalen Hurts' arm strength. Looks pretty good now, doesn't it? I mean, Gardner Minshew cannot push the ball down the field. This guy is throwing rainbows. He's lobbing passes. I mean, I get it. You got to have some touch. You got to know when to take a little mustard off, but this guy's ball velocity clearly is not there. So I don't want to pound Gardner Minshew, but man, this is not the guy. This is not 2017 all over again. And hey, Nick Foles, that magic doesn't work outside of Philadelphia. I saw you last night, but see, that's the problem showing up. Guys like you who just look at the box score and say, yeah, he threw for 350 yards. Not a great performance, guys. Believe me when I tell you. Not a great performance from Gardner Minshew. And let's be honest, I mean, outside of A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert made the most of his opportunities. But it's really like, that's it, right? Like Miles Sanders can be shut down. We saw that yesterday. And so if you allow A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith to feast, if you shut down the Eagles' run game and Jalen Hurts isn't there, it's a beatable equation. It's a winning formula. So, and that's the other element, like the element of surprise. And they asked Gardner Minshew, how much did the offense change without Jalen? Not much. The designed runs were taken out of the playbook. Yeah, no kidding. So basically, it was a watered down offense because it was the same exact offense, except designed runs were taken out of the equation. No wonder why you can key on Miles Sanders and shut him down. Nobody's worried about Gardner Minshew, man. Sure enough, I expected more from Minshew. I did. I expected him to execute on some of the passes downfield, some of the wide open targets that he missed, and again the mechanics. This was a Senior Bowl invite. I forget how high he went in the draft, but for the mechanics to be so off, that was concerning. Because when you're seeing ghosts, when you're feeling pressure that isn't there, something's not right. That's what I expect. I expect more poise. And Gardner said he was confident. He was confident out there. And he said, listen, we didn't win. I didn't get the job done. I know you didn't. That one hurts to come out there and fight like that and lose. My fault on the fumble. Here's what I expected. With the best offensive line in the league, with the performance A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith had, and with what Miles Sanders should have done, what did I expect from Gardner Minshew? I expected a W. I don't care how it got done. I expected a W because the other 52 players on the roster were better. Go Sixers says the coaching was disappointing. I agree, and I think it was more disappointing on the defense. Let's talk about that because they're not off the hook. Hassan Reddick, Josh Sweat showed up. That defensive line against the run, I thought, showed up. That was pretty good. I mean, they shut down Ezekiel Elliott, 16 carries for 55 yards, 3 yards, 3.4 per carry. Tony Pollard, 9 for 19. They did good against the run. The pass, that was a different story. Wow. Darius Slay, what is going on? Because Slay, you can only live so long off a reputation, and at some point, you've got to be held accountable. Darius Slay has to be held accountable at some point because that was atrocious. Now, back to the coaching game plan. I mean, I would have liked to see. Here's the issue is like all this zone coverage. Is it a communication thing? Because there seems to be a lot of miscommunication in this zone coverage. And that's what you get when you have revolving parts, moving parts. Or is it just a back injury? Remember, I think it was after the Minnesota game, week 2. His back flared up. And remember his snap count kind of went like this for a couple weeks. And then a few weeks later, he showed up again on the injury report with a back. Now, if it's not the back, and if it's not the communication, then maybe Darius Slay is getting a little long in the tooth. Okay, now, not even including the Dallas game, right? And this is just a snippet, guys. This is just a small snippet to give you an example, to give you a little taste, a little dabble on your tongue on how bad Darius Slay has been in the second half of the season. First 8 games, he had the second lowest passer rating against him. The second lowest passer rating against him through the first 8 games. Since then, over the last 6 games, this does not even include Dallas. This doesn't even include the 3rd and 30. It doesn't include the 36-yard touchdown to CeeDee Lamb. It doesn't include any of that. The last 6 games, he's been targeted 26 times. Of those 26 targets, 18 completions. 18 out of 26 for 241 yards and 3 touchdowns. Not good. Not good. In fact, during that span, out of 93 cornerbacks that were graded in passer rating over the last 6 weeks, would you care to guess where Darius Slay is? Out of 93? 92nd. Bottom of the barrel. Pretty bad. Pretty bad. You know what else is pretty bad? The turnover differential. Because this is something that I keep hearing is taught. And Sirianni preaches, we teach turnovers. Well, do you? Because you ain't doing a good job. Look at this. Look at this. Turnovers. First 8 games. Winning football. 18 takeaways and 3 turnovers. Plus 15. Last 7 games, 8 takeaways, 14 turnovers. 14 turnovers. Wow. So they're committing 2 turnovers per game over the last 7 after having just 3 turnovers through 8 games. Wow. Yeah. You don't win football games when you turn the ball over. That, my friends, is the bottom line. Bradbury, not the greatest game. TJ Edwards, he's starting to be a liability in pass coverage as well. At least he was yesterday. And the safeties, there's a lot of impact from this Avonte Maddox injury. We'll get into some of that after the commercial break. What does it all mean? Avonte Maddox, Lane Johnson, Jalen Hurts, Chauncey Gardner. Is Darius Slay hurt? We'll get into it. Do your boy a solid. Smash that like button. We'll see you right back in 2 minutes. Hit it.